Good afternoon. This is Rich Coleman. I am the host for the Prevention Corner, and we are welcoming everybody to the live stream format that we're now hosting. We're so excited to bring this format to ECAM live stream. We have been involved with our public access channels for many years here in the Ann Arbor area. We are excited about what we're going to do with the Prevention Corner as we move forward. My show has been focusing on historically crime prevention, personal safety, information about how everyone can protect themselves. Working in law enforcement for over 32 years and retiring and now coming back part-time, we've gathered tremendous amount of information as well as resources with crime prevention and personal safety. Our show will focus on those initiatives that are important to me as we have worked with our community and not only with our local community here in Washtenaw County in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but we're also connected with the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan. And we're going to be sharing information from our October 21 conference in just a few moments with some of the speakers who were involved. And it's what's important about what you're going to hear from me and see in this program. Also, as a professional musician, a parent, father of a daughter who is on Broadway, an uncle who is of tremendous musicians and authors, and we're going to be focusing on bringing family into this perspective as well as we work with all of our community entities to talk about and share with you information about prevention and all aspects of prevention and its personal safety. As a professional musician and recording artist, I'll be sharing information as a member of the American Federation of Musicians, the world of theater, supporting the local music scene. And I think one of the things that's important as we navigate through all of these apps with streaming and live stream services, with all of them that are available for consumers, and we're going to be focusing on what's going on with the artists on the other end. And the intellectual property. I think that that's something that's been missing in this conversation with all of these platforms that have been created that are not music oriented. It is a business, and those businesses are not paying artists. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to be sharing information with you from the American Federation of Musicians, a number of groups, as well as legislation looking at how do we help protect musicians. Okay, my name is Rich Coleman, and I serve currently as part-time as the Public Safety Community Coordinator for Pittsfield Township's Department of Public Safety here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and also serve as the Legislative Liaison for the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan. In our Crime Prevention Conference 2021, our theme last year was Learn, Collaborate, Share, and Connect. And I had the opportunity, as I host the blog for our state crime prevention website, is to interview those individuals involved with doing presentations. And I've got 4 of those presenters that we're going to share with you the insight of their specific information that they shared with us, but as well as how can we help our communities be involved with reaping from this amazing information that we heard, but also sharing with you the highlights of what these individuals had to say to us. Our first speaker that I want to share with you is Miss Missy Dodds. She is a teacher who survived a school shooting in Red Lake, Minnesota. We will hear her story and recommendations on school safety and the National Safe and Sound Parents Council and the work that she's involved with this group. This interview is timely with the tragic incident that occurred here in Michigan at the Oxford School. We are all Oxford strong, and we want to make sure that the Oxford community and those who are in Oakland County, all impacted, and those families are all aware that, yes, we are supportive of the healing, of awareness, of how to help make sure that these incidents like this never happen again. So what I'd like to do at this time, in her own words, I would like to introduce to you Mrs. Missy Dodd. Okay. And good afternoon. We are here at the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan's 21 conference. We're back again. all together, and we're so excited about not only our conference, but what we're doing this year, but our amazing speakers. This is our first day, and our first speaker was Misty Dodge from Red Lake. Her story today, being a teacher in a school, addressing the issues of school safety, being involved in an active shooter situation in her classroom. We're going to get her to share some of these comments and concerns, not only that we in law enforcement had the opportunity to hear, but what are we sharing with our parents, our school districts, about not only practicing, but putting in measures to keep students and parents and staff safe. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for
what
having
you
me.
shared with us today.
It's an honor.
And I say this from my heart. Of the last 4 or 5 years, we've had speakers that have come in and shared with us the scenarios of being involved in these types of incidents. It's heart and gut wrenching. My heart goes out to you. When I read the bio coming in, I said a prayer for you because I know reliving this experience is just as traumatic as the experience itself.
It is.
And we thank you, we honor you, all of the work that you're doing with reaching out to students and families across the country, as well as our school members and our staff members who unfortunately may not never, and we hope they never experience something like what you've experienced. But share with us what you would like our parents and our school districts to know about school safety and your experience.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your kind words. I love speaking with law enforcement. Y'all are the true heroes. The first thing I think the biggest thing for me personally was realizing that I had a responsibility to keep the school safe as a parent. Normally we think that falls either on law enforcement, or maybe you think it falls on the principal or the superintendent, but it's actually the entire community's responsibility. So that means that each one of us has a role. As a parent, you have a role to know what your school's plan is if there's a fire, what you should do, where reunification is, how to report something. I mean, I have kids, they're concerned about their friends. What if they come in and tell me? How do I report that to the school so that it can get taken care of? So those are very important topics.
And some of the things that you highlighted that were really, they stayed with me, and it goes into that, all of the training we've done with Alice and all of those various components with preparing our schools. And when you think about recovery, you think about the actual process of who knew, the things that go on with leakage, that terminology. I like that terminology. And share with us what that, when you heard that and the lights went off, what did that mean for you?
Leakage is where most shooters, active violence perpetrators, they're going to leak their plans. That's part of it. That's part of the process. And when I found out in our situation, and it's been in newspaper, so it's not a big secret, that 39 people knew that our shooter had plans. And I know that students took action. They told adults. It was 15 years ago. I don't blame anybody. I still don't to this day. But it was that we did the best we could with what we had at that time. But now with social media, there's even more room for more leakage. And as parents, as teachers, as students, we have a responsibility to report it and let the experts in law enforcement usually deal with it. You know what to do if a student's threatening this. We don't. I knew how to teach math, sort of. Yes. So, but that's what's so important, is that if we see something, we say something, and we do something. And so it is hard to know that many people knew, but at the same time, I wish that we had been more supportive as teachers, as community members, to support those students to share.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we're seeing now with so much social media, one of the sites that I really enjoy getting their information is Common Sense Media.
Yes.
They do a lot of great work pointing out information for parents and for those to look for troubled signs in social media. And we're seeing that in such a huge way now with TikTok and all of these things that are going on with these social media that students not only are trying, but they're engulfed in, I feel bad because they're not liking me and I don't have enough likes.
Right.
It's terrifying to see our young children go through this scenario. And when we look at these active shooter situations and what your experience was, even back in 2005 and where we're at today,
Right.
it's even more glorified that we as parents,
Exactly.
as community members, need to be a part of that chain of notifying a troubled child.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it truly takes all of us, and it is every, if you see something, say something. I love the Colorado Safe to Speak. I don't, does
Yes.
Michigan, okay, y'all,
Yes.
Michigan
Similar
has,
like that.
Michigan has a plan.
Okay to say.
Okay to
That's
say.
the plan is okay
So
to say.
Michigan's okay to say, use it, use it, use it. Because that is absolutely, I'm jealous of that, as coming from another state. I think that's amazing. Don't be afraid to use it. There's no retaliation, so to speak. The life you save could be your kids. It could either be your kids through suicide, it could be your kids through an act of violence. Speak up. Speak
Yeah.
up. Let the professionals.
Well, Missy, on behalf of all of our crime prevention personnel who are here at the conference this week and those who will see this interview and catch up with the things that are going on, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for what you presented to us, your conversation with us coming from your heart and sharing with all of those students that were in your classroom that are no longer with us. Our heart goes out to you.
Thank you. You're making me cry. Thank
You are in our prayers, so please, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to us and let us know how we can be of help.
Thank you. I can hug. Thank you so much, and thank you for saying the
Indeed.
prayer because I needed it. You're gonna make me
Absolutely.
cry. 'Cause
Thank you
I
so
was
much.
Trying not to cry when you were saying that. I was like,
This is
"Oh,
real.
oh."
This is all
It
real.
is. No, I know it is. I can tell. Thank you.
It's very real.
Thank you. 'Cause
So
it
on
is
behalf
real.
of all of us, again, thank you so much. And here at the
Did you
conference,
get my contact information?
I did,
Okay.
and we'll have that
Yes,
information
yes,
that we can
and that-
share, but
Well,
also
yes, and
how
you can
important
contact with me. Yes,
this
you can.
is for all of our community members to hear this message. On behalf of all of us, again, thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you, and God bless you too. Thank you, and thank you for what.
And yes, we are so excited about that presentation, and we've learned so much with all of the training that many of our agencies has had dealing with ALICE training and the interactions with law enforcement and school personnel. And it's more to learn. It's more to be aware of, particularly as we talk about leakage. And it's important to report if you hear something, say something. Here in Michigan, yes, we do have the OK to Say campaign that's sponsored by the Attorney General's office. Our current Attorney General, Dana Nessel, did continue this program. And as you can see here on the screen, we've got the numbers, we've got the web address, we've got information of how to text as well as call. And it's never too late. When students hear something or parents see something that's suspicious or makes you uncomfortable, make sure that you let someone know. Please use these numbers, copy this information down, check with your local schools to talk about with your school personnel about this program. And if you don't have it in place, make sure that you find out how to initiate this program for those schools here in Michigan. Again, OK to Say. It's important for us to have an avenue and vehicles to be able to report something that is suspicious, something that someone is either being cyberbullied or potential acts of violence. Please report that information. Our next speaker that we want to share with you is still in concert with this information, Mr. Chris McKenna, who is the founder of Protect Young Eyes, an internet safety initiative. Chris has provided workshops to students and parents across the country and has testified at a number of the Senate hearings on internet safety and children, focusing on social media. His information that he provided to us just to navigate, it is absolutely phenomenal. He was here with us a couple years ago, and so much has changed since his presentation 2 years ago. But it's important for us to, as parents, as community members, and for those who work with youth to be able to understand where they're at and what they're seeing on these social media sites. His information on the dangers of social media and the impact on minors is important for all of us, particularly our parents who have raised concerns. So now let's go to hear Chris. You can just look at me.
All right.
Hey folks, we are here at the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan Conference for Session 2 for Day 2, which is our first full official day of presentations. And today we're with Chris McKenna with Protect Young Eyes. If you have not been involved with cybersecurity and listening as a parent, as a school, as an educator, but all of us from the faith community for every avenue, we need to learn this information. Chris has a wealth of information that he's provided with our crime prevention practitioners from throughout the state of Michigan who are here today that we're bringing back to our communities. And I'm sure, Chris, you're going to get a lot of requests for more workshops. Here's what I'd like for you to do for us, as we talk with our community members,
Sure.
department heads, school personnel, but most of all, parents.
Yeah.
You talked specifically to us over this last couple of hours about some things, and the inverted triangle.
Yeah. The inverted responsibility
triangle.
Right.
Give me a brief of what that means.
That means that we have placed all of the burden of using technology well on those who have the least ability to impact and influence that technology. Meaning, we've said to parents and kids, figure it out. Because we have laws that are inadequate, and we have technology organizations with impossible wealth and ability who are not stewarding that in a way which prioritizes the safety and protection of kids. So we've delegated all of the safety and all of the use it well to the kids and to parents to figure it out. And that's just not the right spot. So we've got to flip that around, right? We got to get the base of big tech getting this right. We've got to get laws in place that are up to date, that are not 20 years old, protecting our kids, so that we get that triangle flipped.
And when you talked about developmentally, for us as we kind of did the deep dive today to talk about children, to talk about parents, talk about the way the brain is developing to this much consumption, and some of it's just way too much for a young mind.
Right.
How important is it that we help parents understand the dynamic? You put this powerful tool in their hands and they're not ready for it, the impact that it might have. And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we had to go virtual, which meant every student was given a device.
Right.
How scary was that for you and what you do when that happened?
Yeah, so in the very moment that parents needed me the most, COVID prevented me from getting to them the most. And that was tough. And so back to the brain though for just a minute, right? Kids do certain things online, and I want us to understand that that's not always their fault. And what do I mean by that? Do we need consequences when kids do bad things? Yes, consequences are necessary. But when we understand more about the developing brain, then we understand that when good kids make bad choices in apps that are wildly intelligent, we should have empathy instead of judgment for that kid. I think one of the lines I used in the talk is that when I see a kid who is hopelessly hooked on a video game or a kid who can't put TikTok down, to me that is a perfectly predictable response to a perfectly tuned machine. And that's a brain that doesn't have all the executive functioning to be able to stop, to say, wait, this isn't good for me. They don't have all of those parts of their brain plugged in yet, like you and I do, to go, I should probably put this down. They can't. It's all go and no slow, right?
Yeah.
And so when we understand that that's how their brain is, I just think we approach their choices online with a lot more empathy. And I think it's important, whether in our professional role or our personal role, if we can go, oh, I get it a little bit better, because I get you a little bit better, then I think we're going to build trust with kids and be able to have more opportunity to help them.
Yeah, there were several different highlighted points of this presentation you did for us that stood out for me, and one of the 5 layers of digital protection.
Yeah.
Just briefly go through that,
Sure.
because we're going to put your website at protectyoungeyes.com. We're going to put all that information up so that parents can get access to the website.
Great.
The QR code that they can link up and see when they go to the site to get information and the links. But talk about those layers of protection. What does that mean?
So multiple layers are necessary because digital doorways are everywhere, right? There's a ubiquity to getting online that means that just when we think we've got their phone controlled or our home controlled, then they're in the back of a friend's SUV going somewhere for yogurt, and now there's an iPad that we have no control over.
Yeah.
Okay, so it starts with relationships. We can talk about kind of layers. The most important one is relationships, that our kids know, which beyond any doubt, that no matter what they experience or see online, that they can land safely and softly with us. Yeah. That's so critical. Start from a very young age to give them that open door to us from anything that will never freak out when they come to us with a digital issue. So relationship, the next one is location. So we go from relational to locational. Using tech in certain places increases the risk. If I'm alone in my bedroom, that increases the risk that I might do something online I shouldn't. Then we get the home network. That's layer 3, that Wi-Fi layer. The digital device that is most important for our digital parenting is the router.
Yes.
Right? Hug the router. We ignore it, but no, hug the router. Get a good one, and we recommend Griffin. Next is you want to have software that can help because it's not always connected to the router. You could be on data, so get something like Covenant Eyes or Bark or some parental control software. And then after that, are there controls inside of the apps? Can we toggle on restricted mode in YouTube or whatever that might be? Those are important things, right? And here's our technology getting to us anytime, anywhere.
Anytime, anywhere.
And so those layers we build on top of each other from strongest to weakest, but together to form that really great protection between our young people and some of those digital places we don't want them to be.
And speaking of that, because these three have been in the news lately based on the whistleblower and Facebook, but Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, the concerns that not only the legislative bodies are looking at, but also what parents need to know about what we're discovering now that these reports have come out about what the companies knew and how important this is. And you recommended for all of us as well as parents, go find the reports. And the Wall Street Journal was the first, New York Times.
200 pages of internal documents, read them. Right.
Yeah.
Don't, if you have different skepticisms or uncertainties about what Ms. Haugen's intentions are, great. Set those aside. Go read it yourself, and then take your child, what you know about him or her, his or her strengths and vulnerabilities, and then put them inside of that body of evidence and look at it. To me, everything, it's a risk-reward sort of situation, right? I know my kid, I know what their vulnerabilities are. If I understand the risks of these applications, then I can look for ways to mitigate harm to my child. If I have a kid who is susceptible to screen time addiction or gaming addiction, then I need to treat that child differently because parents will tell me all the time, this one struggles and this one doesn't, right? So we need to individualize. Why? Based on what I know about the game or the app and what I know about my kid, it's about managing that risk. And I think those internal documents peel back the curtain, peel that onion a little bit more to show us things that we didn't even know was possible inside of these apps when you drop certain kids inside of them.
Yeah, the data analysis is absolutely amazing. And as a crime prevention practitioner for many years, we've looked at behind the scenes, things as we talk to parents in neighborhood watch groups, in schools, in doing presentations, that this is not just a place they go to, but they're collecting data about you. They're sending you other places, and they send you more of what they think you might be interested in. You coined a phrase to me that I thought was probably the most interesting regarding what we dealt with during the pandemic, and that toxic trio.
The toxic trio.
That was important for the aftermath of what happened for those students who had to be on screen time. Talk to us a little bit and explain what that means.
Sure. That goes back to risk. So whenever you have internet access with 3 different things, it creates a risky situation. Those 3 things are bedrooms, darkness, and boredom. Whenever I'm online, and I would argue whether I'm 14 or 40, if I'm online and I have a bedroom, darkness, and boredom, and that's where I'm doing it, that's a locational layer in the layers there that we avoid, and I just think we put ourselves in a risky spot. You can rationalize anything in your bedroom at 11 o'clock at night if you're bored. And that's not just a kid problem. And let's look in the mirror a little bit, and let's just say I probably should be careful there too, right?
And that's the thing, particularly because not only do I study and have to navigate the web for what I do for our department, but it's also the global perspective around everything that I'm seeing. How do I compartmentalize it? How do I put it in a box and put it over here saying, maybe I need to come back to that, so that not only do I understand it, and as we were talking earlier, one of the sites, and I did forward an email to you, of the site called Center for Digital educational technology.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
And it is
Yeah.
a cybersecurity K through 12, and all of the things that school districts around the country
Awesome.
are doing to deal not only with ransomware, but also how do we help our students who we now have to engage them in
That's
this
great.
virtual world.
Yeah.
We have, as a Crime Prevention Association of Michigan, been so appreciative of your openness for your background, how you got to where you are today,
Yeah, thank you.
and the things that have been important, and your faith with being part of as a father and family, how important that is with your global message. Because people will always look at you, he's saying one thing, doing something else, but you're open about everything that's from your past to where you are today. And we are appreciative, not only as we look at the things that we deal with parents who ask, what do you do? When we talked about this a little bit, you got this legislation, but it doesn't work. School resource officers, parents are coming and saying, hey, do something about this, but not my child.
Yeah, yeah.
We're all struggling with that. But this information, what we heard today, not only do we consume it, but the questions and the comments from this session were on point.
Yeah.
With the frustrations and the big picture,
Yeah.
that this is way beyond all of us, and it really comes back to the home. Parents buy these devices.
That's right.
They have them in their homes.
Yeah.
And it's so important for parents to be able to be educated and engaged without, you're threatening me and I can't do this and my child will go blink and if I take it from them, well, you're paying the bill.
Yeah.
You know, have that engagement, but also have that ability to engage and not be critical, but to be this part about the caring. In closing for us,
Yeah.
you know, the things that your organization, protectyoungeyes.com,
Mm-hmm.
how can we reach you? How can parents find out
Sure.
about the resources that you shared with us today?
Yeah.
What are those resources?
Website, obviously, very active on social media. Even though there's things about social media I can't stand, I'm going to use it for good.
Sure.
So visit us at Protect Young Eyes.
Yeah.
We have a newsletter we send out fairly regularly that you can text the word protect, PROTECT, to the number 66866. Really easy, 66866. And that'll automatically, with your email address, enroll you into that newsletter. We also have a resource that we built during the pandemic to get to parents in a more scalable way. We built the Protect app. That's ours. You can find it in the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search for the Protect app or Protect Young Eyes. And that's a free app to download that has some premium features inside of it that for $4 a month, basically a parent can have everything that we know. It's a pretty sweet deal, right, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So those are some ways that they can get in touch. We can be brought into communities. I was in California yesterday doing a
Traveling,
talk, right?
man.
You
Yes,
know,
you are. Yes, you are. And every day there's something new to learn about.
yeah. So we want to bear that burden for parents to stay up to date. We stay up to date, but if you stay connected, we'll carry that burden for parents, and that's what we want to do. So,
Well, Chris, on behalf of the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan and all of our members, not only who were here at the conference, but those who will see this in our CPAM blog, we thank you once again for this tremendous amount of information. And we were here 2 years ago in the Traverse City area when you did the presentation. It's the cycle of how much and how fast this is changing is absolutely amazing. But you brought it to us in a way that we can digest it, we can take it back to our communities,
Yeah.
we can take it with our school resource officers, neighborhood watch groups, our faith communities. Those who need to know will know about protectyoungeyes.com.
Thank you. Appreciate
Again, thank you so much, my friend. Be well.
it. Take care.
Yeah. And yes, we'd like to thank Chris again for his amazing information. And one of the things that's a spinoff of that we will be working on with a future show is dealing with internet safety for our business community. The hacking, ransomware, Bitcoin. So many of our seniors and so many people are being impacted by ransomware, and they're asking you to go buy gift cards and do all of these things that are out of the norm, but they don't want you to hang up because they're saying that the police have been notified and they will come and arrest you. That is all untrue. Law enforcement is never involved with anything that these scammers are promoting and scaring particularly vulnerable seniors. And we're going to be focusing on how to help make sure that individuals are aware of how to protect themselves from scam phone calls as well as scam emails, and information that you might receive through social media. A lot of our community members, a lot of our seniors who are on Facebook and all of these various social media sites, you have to make sure that you set those settings to privacy. Your information, once it gets out there in the public domain, any and all entities can send you, spam you, give you all kinds of crazy stuff that you just don't want to be falling prey to. So stay tuned for that. That's the next episode of what we're going to be focusing on.